Today I'll be scoring and ranking 7 of the best budget headphones under $100 US. I'll be covering a total of 10 categories, and most of the headphones on sale are well under $100, some closer to 50 bucks. And the scoring is super tight, so in some circumstances you might be better off going for some of the cheaper pairs. I've also created a custom scoring spreadsheet so you can tailor the scoring to what matters more to you and compare every small detail nice and easily. That's free to download, linked below, but I'll explain more about it later. Now let's get into category number 1, build quality and fit. And the Edifier 820 NB Plus get a score of 7 out of 10. Since they're the only pair where the ear cups don't fold in, which makes storage a bit tricky. But the build quality itself is fine. The earpad space is a bit squished, but they are the lightest at 238 grams. So they have a basic hard plastic finish on par in quality with the rest of the headphones that have a score of 7.5. So the Tozo HT2 and QCY H3 look pretty much identical and have pretty spacious earpads and nice cushioning on the headband. Still not enough for my giant ears, so my ears do touch a little bit on the inside of the earpads. This is the same with the Soundpeats Space. They're also on par in build quality, but with a more unique design that might not be for everyone. The Earphone Wave Pro get an 8. It's a slight step up in overall quality. It's still basic hard plastics, but they have more spacious earpads. And the One More Sonoflow and Soundcore Space One get an 8.5. Both with the most spacious earpads. Either pair for me is super comfortable, and both have a slightly more premium and sturdy feel with their build. The Space One feels slightly more premium, but the Sonoflow for me just feels a bit lighter on the head. And be sure to check out the spreadsheet because I have a lot of extra information down there, like the earpad quality, clamping force, and things that don't matter too much, because if the clamping force is too tight on your head, you can just stretch out your headphones on a box. Shout out to El Jefe for that trick. Now, if you're looking for a hard case included with your purchase, the One More Sonoflow and Earphone Wave Pro both include what looks like the exact same hard case. They both have a small pouch inside to store your cables as well. The Soundcore Space One is the most expensive pair, but only includes a soft case, and the rest of the headphones don't include anything. Now, category 2 is battery life. And to keep it simple, here are all the advertised amounts you're getting with noise cancelling on and noise cancelling off, as well as fast charge. So pause here for a longer look. So QCY and Tozo are the only headphones without any fast charge. The Edifier 820 has the lowest battery life with noise cancelling on at 33 hours. Still not terrible, but Soundpeats get a 10 out of 10 with 61 hours with noise cancelling on and a whopping 123 hours with noise cancelling off. Very impressive stuff. Now onto category 3, controls. And all the headphones use physical buttons, so this allows you to play pause, adjust volume up and down, skip tracks forward and back, toggle between noise cancelling and transparency, as well as summon your voice assistant. The Earphone Wave Pro, Soundcore Space One, and QCY H3 give you some customization options with the controls in their apps, but most of it is kind of useless. You're able to switch around certain controls, but they all work already as it is. It's only on the Edifier 820 and Soundcore Space One that you can change your ambient control switching. So this means you only have to switch between noise cancelling on and transparency rather than having to add noise cancelling off into the mix. So that's why they both get a higher score, but the Space One gets a 9.5 since they have 4 pretty useful extra features. First is double tapping the ambient button to quickly boost your bass without having to go into the app. Second is wearing detection that will automatically pause your music when you take the headphones off, and it will resume your music when you put the headphones back on, and it works flawlessly. Third is activating quick attention by holding down on the left ear cup. So this will turn your volume down and let in your surroundings with the focus on voices. They also have a beta version of speak to chat, so this will do the same thing as holding down on the left ear cup, but that will turn on when you start speaking to someone. It does work well, but when I was clearing my throat or coughing, it still picked up my voice, where other versions of speak to chat, this won't happen. Now, category 4 is connectivity. And the overall scoring is pretty even here. The main things I'm looking for is high-res codecs, multi-point connection, and if the headphones have a low latency gaming mode. So the headphones with LDAC high-res include the Earphone Wave Pro, Soundcore Space One, Edifier 820, and One More Sonoflow. Now the Sonoflow does use Bluetooth 5.0, the rest of the headphones 5.3, but I noticed no difference in my testing. Now all the headphones have multi-point connection except for the Edifier 820. So with multi-point, this means you can connect 2 devices to the headphones at the same time. When you get a phone call on your other device, it'll automatically switch over. But if you want to play media, you have to pause playback on one device before resuming it on the other device. But the Soundpeats Space and QCY H3 have multi-point takeover. So this means you don't have to pause playback on one device before you play it on the other device. It'll just automatically pause on your other device. It does take a couple of seconds, but it's pretty handy. Now, when it comes to latency with watching videos, all the headphones are completely fine. The Earphone Wave Pro, Edifier 820, Soundpeak Space, and QCY H3 have a low latency gaming mode. So this will be most useful if you're into quick reaction games like shooters and you want to use Bluetooth. Otherwise, all the headphones can be used with an auxiliary cable except for the Edifier 820. Now, category 5 is call quality. And I run through 3 tests: a quiet room, simulation loud kid noise, and a simulation windy city with construction. And here are the scores for all the headphones, and this score here is the average of all 3 scores. A couple of extra things before we run through the actual samples is being able to mute your microphone when you're on a phone call. So you can do this on the Soundcore Space 1. And a lot of the headphones also don't allow you to switch between noise cancelling and transparency when you're on a phone call. Only the Soundpeak Space and Soundcore Space 1 allow you to do this. But now I'll leave you with the samples for the simulation kid noise and simulation windy city, ranked from worst to best. All right, now let's see how the microphones block out some simulation loud kid noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundpeak Space. All right, here's the call quality of the Tozo HT2. All right, here's the call quality of the QCY H3. All right, here's the call quality of the Earphone Wave Pro. All right, here's the Soundcore Space 1 with some simulation loud kid noise. All right, here's the call quality of the One More Sono Flow. All right, here's the call quality of the Edifier 820 NB Plus with some simulation loud kid noise. All right, now I've got some simulation construction noise, city noise, and wind noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Edifier 820 NB Plus. All right, here's the call quality of the Soundpeak Space. All right, here's the call quality of the Earphone Wave Pro. All right, here's the Soundcore Space 1 with some city noise, construction noise. All right, here's the QCY H3 with some city noise, construction noise. All right, here's the call quality of the Tozo H22. All right, here's the One More Sono Flow with some city noise, construction noise, and some simulation noise. All right, category 6 is app customization and extra features. And the Edifier 820 get the lowest score of 6.5, as they're the only headphone with no band EQ customization. So you only get 4 presets, but they are good, and you do get some transparency adjustment as well. The Soundpeak Space get a 7, the app is pretty buggy. You do get a 5-band EQ, but that's about it. The QCY H3 get a 7, as they do have a 10-band EQ, but it's just super buggy and makes the headphones sound worse. They're the only headphone that have a Find My Headphone feature with location, and you get some noise cancelling modes as well. Now the Tozo HT2 gets a 7.5, you get the same features as a QCY app, minus the Find My Headphone feature, but the EQ actually works on them. One More Sono Flow, also a 7.5 with a decent 10-band EQ, plenty of solid presets, and small extras like soothing sounds and a smart burn-in feature, which is not really needed, but there you go. Now the Earphone Wave Pro get an 8 with the best 10-band EQ out of all the headphones, so you get heaps of freedom to customize the sound to your liking, and you get some noise cancelling options in there as well. But the Soundcore Space 1 get a 9 out of 10. With a solid 8-band EQ, you get a hearing test to create an EQ if you're not too keen on using a band EQ. You get noise cancelling and transparency adjustments, safe volume listening to make sure you're not listening too loud, which is a very nice feature. And they've got the easy chat or speak to chat I spoke about before. So the most features and a very reliable, easy to use app. Now, category 7 is noise cancelling, and how I test my noise cancelling, I chuck on my soundbar and I play simulation plane noise and crowd noise. So I'm testing low, middle, high, consistent, as well as inconsistent sounds. And here's a scoring for the plane noise test as well as the crowd noise test. I then average that score and round it up to the nearest half. So take what you want from that, but it's pretty close overall, as you can tell from the overall scoring. But if you're looking for noise cancelling with wind noise reduction, the Soundcore Space 1, Earphone Wave Pro, QCY H3, and Tozo HT2 have this option. The Soundcore Space 1 has an automatic wind noise reduction, so it'll start to turn your noise cancelling strength down when the microphones start to pick up wind. Where with the rest of the headphones, it will bring your noise cancelling strength down by about 30 to 40%. And if you're interested in things like how much white noise the headphones have or EQ shift, that's all in the spreadsheet linked below. All right, category 8 is a transparency mode, so this mode allows you to hear your surroundings. And the cheapest pair today, the QCY H3, has the best transparency mode with a score of 9. And overall, the cheaper pairs are slightly better, so I could actually have a conversation with a QCY H3 with no issues. As you start to go lower in score, around 7.5 and down, it's still doable, just not as clear. And some pairs do have more white noise than others, so I have taken this into account with the scoring. Still, a 3 out of 5 rating of white noise will only be heard in a quieter environment. Now, category 9 is sound extras. So this includes sound leakage, max volume, low level listening, and listening with an auxiliary cable. Let's start with sound leakage. So the way I test this, I measure all the headphones to be playing at 80 decibels, which is usually around 65-70% volume. And I'm playing the chorus of Enter Sandman with my headphones placed on a box, kind of similar to the size of a head, and I just listen to how much noise comes out. So here, the higher score will represent less sound leakage, and it was honestly very close in my testing, so all the pairs don't really leak too much sound. And now if you're someone that's just looking for the loudest headphone, these are the results I got in my max volume test. So the Soundpeak Space is the loudest, just over 100 decibels, but even the Earphone Wave Pro at 92 decibels, it's still incredibly loud. Like on the last 2 clicks, it's uncomfortable to listen, at least for me. Obviously we all have different hearing. You definitely don't want to be venturing above the 85 decibel range. Now, when it comes to low level listening, I'm talking about the first 1 to 4 clicks of volume. None of the pairs here have like a special EQ to boost bass and treble at lower volume, since naturally we hear less. So the headphones that are kind of tuned more on the V-shaped side with extra bass and treble are just going to naturally sound better at those lower volumes. But most of the pairs still sound fine. And finally, when it comes to listening with an auxiliary cable, only the Edifier 820 don't have this option. Most of the headphones will power off when you use an aux cable, so you can't use noise cancelling or transparency, and the sound quality is always reduced as well. Usually the sound just becomes more bloated and a bit muddy. You lose detail, and this is mainly because there's no power to the headphones, so they're not using the DSP. The Tozo HT2 do suffer the least from this and still sound pretty decent powered off with an aux cable. But the Soundcore Space One allow you to power the headphones on with the aux cable, so you can use noise cancelling or transparency, and they sound even better than streaming over Bluetooth. All right, now onto the final round, sound quality. And we'll start from the worst and work our way up to the best sound. So the QCY H3 get a score of 5. Because the stock tuning is just a bit of a mess, bloated bass, recessed thin mids, and lacking treble. It just sounds overall pretty off. You do get the 10-band EQ, but as soon as I started EQing, everything would just sound worse. And the presets are also pretty rough. I was honestly pretty surprised because QCY's True Wireless earbuds are up there with the best in their price range, but there you go. Next is the Soundpeak Space with a 6.5. It's a pretty huge step up from the QCY H3, but still, it's nothing special. They do need quite a bit of EQing, but even with it, the mids and treble are a bit thin and the overall sound is just not very rich. Next is a Tozo HT2 with a 7.5. The stock tuning is very bass boosted with boomy bass, but pretty nice clarity overall despite some shouty mids. I like myself some extra bass, but this is still a little bit much. Luckily that 10-band EQ gives you some solid freedom to tailor the sound to your liking. This is the EQ I came up with, dialing down the bass slightly and bringing down those mids. And if you like more over-the-top bass, you'll love these. Next we have the Soundcore Space One with a score of 8. This is quite a strong V-shaped tuning. So like Tozo, you get some thumping bass that's a bit too much, so I dialed down that slightly in the EQ. The soundstage is the best out of all the pairs though, as they do have the deepest ear cups. But the EQ only gives you so much freedom, so the mids can still be shouty at times, but it's a very fun tuning that I personally love. Next is the Edifier 820 NB+, also with an 8. The stock tuning is quite balanced, deep refined bass, clear but natural mids, and smooth treble. I prefer the Pop EQ, which is a subtle bass boost, and the Rock preset boosts the bass even more as well as the treble, but the mids do get a little bit over the top. A regular EQ would have been nice here, but at least the presets are decent. We have a tie in first place with the Earphone Wave Pro and one more Sonoflow, both with an 8.5. Let's start with the Sonoflow. So the stock tuning standout is the mids. Super clear, but boosted in a way not to be shouty or over the top. The bass is well mannered, but a little bit lacking when it comes to sub bass, at least for my liking. And the treble is super smooth, but you get nice detail. It's pretty much a Edifier 820 stock tuning, just slightly better. But when I chuck on the classical EQ preset, they sound even better, with a nice boosting in that sub bass and treble. So now it's a more dynamic sound, but those vocals are still at the forefront. My only complaint here is the band EQ doesn't give you too much freedom. If you want more freedom with the EQ, the Earphone Wave Pro are the best out of all the headphones. The stock tuning is more on the natural side, so you get a very clean, punchy bass response, forward but natural mids, and detail but clean treble. You can probably tell I like myself a more dynamic tuning, and usually in my experience with the EQs, you can only steer so far away from the stock tuning. But the 10-band EQ gives you tons of freedom. I like this more V-shaped tuning, and with it, they sound great. The bass is rich but well mannered, vocals are still natural but cut through the boosted bass, and the treble is crisp and detailed whilst never getting harsh or over the top. Now the mids are better on the Sonoflow and you can push out more bass, but I do prefer the sparkly treble on the Wave Pro. The soundstage is also great on both pairs, just behind the Soundcore Space One. So pretty close there, but if I was to only choose one headphone, I'd personally go for the Sonoflow. But that wraps up all 10 categories, and before we head into the final scoring, keep in mind the scoring system just makes it easier for me to compare all the headphones, and it doesn't really matter much because we all have different preferences, so that's why I created the custom scoring spreadsheet, free to download, link below. So on there you get every score, notes for each score, specifications, a core quality sheet, but it's a personalized scoring where you can have some fun. So just fill out a number in the importance column and that will multiply the entire category. 0 to get rid of it, 0.5 to halve it, 2 to double it, and that will change the total score for all the headphones. But here is the final scoring, super close overall. The Earphone Wave Pro in third with 81 out of 100, One More Sonoflow in second with 81.5, and the Soundcore Space One an easy win with 84.5 out of 100. And they are the most feature packed and best all around, but that doesn't mean they're right for you. For me, all that really matters is the fit, noise cancelling, and sound quality. So if I put that in the spreadsheet, then the Earphone Wave Pro or One More Sonoflow come out on top. And that's why my personal overall pick is the One More Sonoflow. But the Tozo HD2 are worth mentioning. They're much cheaper and they get pretty close in overall quality. And there's always sales on, so it really depends on what the price of the headphones are when you are buying them. But hopefully the scoring spreadsheet in this video helps you decide. And I do this scoring and ranking with True Wireless earbuds as well, so check out this video here of the best True Wireless earbuds under $100. Quick shout out to my channel members and all my supporters on Ko-Fi. I really appreciate the support. So stay picky. I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.